We all know that it absolutely does not matter to the leftists that Michael Cohen is, a serial liar, like known to be this liar. And Stormy Daniels is an X-rated, star. And yet, they still are the star witnesses in this Trump case. Oh my God, it backfired horribly today.
The cross-exam, boy, her responses were disastrous. I mean, do you hate Donald Trump? Yes, of course she does. That's a big deal. When the witness hates the person whose liberty is at stake, that's a big damn deal. And she's putting out tweets, fantasizing about him being in jail. That really undermines the credibility. The fact that she owes him $500,000, she, by order of a court, owes Donald Trump $500,000 and said, I will never pay him. I will defy a court order. The defense is going to say she's willing to defy a court order. Why? She's not willing to respect an order of a judge. Why is she going to respect this oath she took? So I thought it went quite poorly on cross-exam. At the end of direct, I thought, okay, they got what they needed, but I think the cross is making real inroads.
Well, you know what they say, when CNN tripping on you like that, it is bad. It is horrible. Oh, but we have more. This is Alvin Bragg's star witness to the Stormy Daniels case. He's a great witness.
But one thing Donald Trump is, he's a compassionate man. He's a man of great intellect, great intuition, and great abilities. Mr. Trump's memory is fantastic, and I've never come across a situation where Mr. Trump has said something that's not accurate. Mr. Trump truly cares about America. He loves this country. He's an amazing negotiator, maybe the best ever in the history of this world. The words the media should be using to describe Mr. Trump are generous, compassionate, principled, empathetic, kind, humble, honest, and genuine. He's not lying. He was protecting a friend. There's a difference.
What is the difference?
The difference is he was being a true friend. It didn't matter to him. He will ultimately, and I've said this so many times, he will ultimately go down in history as the greatest president.
Which is why I'm confused as to why this case is something that they would even still consider. After watching a clip like that, you don't have to wonder if the defense has or are in possession of this video. You don't have to wonder. I'm pretty sure they are, but you do have to wonder whether or not the court would even allow them to play something like this for the jury. Because, boy, it will be goated. Tell you what, though, we do have to count our minor victories. At least he told the truth in this clip. We heard him actually being he's capable of telling the truth. We know that much. But we got Trash Bragg. Alvin Bragg still trying to pursue this. You know what? Let's go ahead and check out this testimony today. Oh my God, y'all. Sorry for wasting your time out of your life in advance.
She spoke very quickly, nervously. She told a lot of jokes and not all of them landed. I haven't seen Mir Chan in this trial be so sort of irritated, and it came across, I think, as being irritated with her level of detail. That's something, if you're the DA, you're worried about.
Her testimony's a little bit irrelevant.
I think Stormy Daniels' testimony could have been accomplished with 3 words, in the sense that we had sex. Everything else was probably unnecessary. And then, to me, testimony like saying, well, he was a lot physically larger than me, and I wasn't intimidated, but it's out there. He was bigger than me. He was blocking the door. It goes back to the issue. This is not a sex assault case, and the defense is going to argue, and right or wrong, this is what they will argue on appeal, that that kind of testimony turned this into a quasi-sex assault case. Stormy Daniels is one of those witnesses that tends to not just answer the question asked, but add her own editorial, and that is a really dangerous thing.
There have been a couple times where she seems to be cracking a joke, trying to get a reaction from the jury, and our reporters in the room have noted that the jury hasn't seemed to respond to that.
No, they're taking their job seriously.
I mean, what do you make of that?
Humor is risky in the courtroom, especially if you go in with lines, like it looks like Stormy. If something happens spontaneously, if an easel falls over, people will laugh. They're human. But it's never going to work if you go in there like, I'm going to amuse the jury. I'm going to sort of say this clever thing.
This is an entirely unnecessary witness. This is a form of punishment. They're trying to use a witness for punitive purposes and, in my view, political purposes. And this is what happens. And it happened because the judge lost control of his courtroom.
And then we get to the details, the silk pajamas, the kind of lotion he was wearing. I can't imagine how the Court of Appeals in New York that reversed the Harvey Weinstein conviction, which was a harder case to reverse, wouldn't reverse this conviction if it got up there. I would certainly recommend to the prosecutors in this case that they study the Weinstein case very carefully, because it gives a roadmap to what you can't do. And this prosecutor is just following the roadmap of what you can't do.
The judge said, I agree that it would have been better if some of these things had been left unsaid. Now to you, sir. Is that common for a judge to say?
He's suggesting now he's going to ask the jury to pretend that they didn't hear it, so they could just unhear it rather than hoping that it was unsaid. Of course, that's not going to work. But what was baffling is that the judge created this dumpster fire that went off in his courtroom. It was the defense that said there's no reason for this witness. She's not material to the case. The details of their alleged tryst doesn't have any bearing on the crime. I mean, this was not just to humiliate the president. They wanted to poison the well with the jury.
By the way, it wasn't so salacious. I mean, she said the missionary position, and she said the word condom. So, I mean, that was basically it.
This is porn for sexless Democrats. Listening to testimony from an aging sex worker about Trump in a courtroom, you have everything. It's almost as erotic as listening to NPR while feeding grapes to your cat with myocarditis.
Damn. You know what they say? 304's gonna be 304's, my friend. Oh, man, sending prayers out to Donald Trump as he deals with all of this, man. And facing all of this frivolous BS. You got Stormy Daniels out here who can't even maintain focus and giving y'all faulty jokes as she goes up to testify against Trump in what seems to be BS. Just all BS. As the volatile mermaid wrote, shout out to Stormy Daniels for making adult film star a more respected job title than former president of the United States. Honestly though, it's not even funny though, because they don't treat this man with any sort of dignity or morale or any integrity at all. They actually just look at him like he's the scum, and also as somebody who's in the way from them being able to maintain their agenda. We just gonna leave it at that. But the jury is seeing right through this BS. The jury is not convinced. I'm pretty sure. When you see CNN, when you see the left not being convinced of its own antics, that's when you should be, they should be worried. But yeah, man, they trying to paint Stormy Daniels as she's some sort of hero over the internet. She's gonna take Trump down, finally. Yeah. All those comments aged horribly. And Bill Mitchell put this in perspective very perfect for anybody who's wondering why we keep saying that this is a witch hunt. Does anyone else find it odd that an alleged affair, which happened 14 years ago, would just happen to find its way into the courtroom mere months before the 2024 presidential election? I don't think so. Let's not forget that the interaction, I guess, the $130,000 that Stormy Daniels accepted from Trump is actually written off as a business expense. And not to mention, she previously, in two different statements, she acknowledged how this was all just frivolous and made up. They never did anything. Yeah, man. I'm not really surprised by none of this. Liars do what they do. Lie. However, Helena Haber, oh man, I love this woman for her work as a lawyer now. All right, y'all quit playing now.
The matter of law, everything she talked about today was immaterial. I mean, it had really nothing to do with the law. Let me go back to the official statement that she says she was pressured to sign in January of 2018 that I just read. Well, was she pressured to deny the affair in 2006? Was she similarly pressured to deny it in 2011? Was she pressured to deny it in 2016? Was she pressured to deny it in 2017? Because that's an awful lot of times that she was out there denying it and then admits she wanted to make money and sell a book.
That's correct. And I'm not going to speak to her testimony. She's currently under oath, and we're going to continue cross-examining her on Thursday. What I will say is this, Sean. When you have inconsistencies with any witness, it speaks volumes. When you pick people that are not credible. It speaks volumes. And I think that the fact that we have White House logs that DAs and AGs are all coordinating and on the South Lawn with President Biden also speaks volumes. And we're going to hit each and every one of these cases like we have. As you saw with the boxes hoax today, this is disgusting. Jack Smith changing covers, sloppy with evidence that he's now trying to blame President Trump when it was his hands in the cookie jar. Let's be clear on what is happening. Their plan is falling apart. It's going in their face. And frankly, all of these cases should be dismissed.
All right. The special prosecutor has confessed to the court that they basically tampered with evidence involving the documents case down there. Now this case is on hold indefinitely. Most voters are saying that Donald Trump is being denied a right to a fair trial in this case that we're watching unfold before us. Now Congress will be investigating the special counsel in this case. And the document case judge pulled the plug on the trial because of this admission that they failed to preserve critical evidence in that footnote that we have been spending a lot of time on the last 2 days. Is there any greater admission? How does that case ever move forward at any time based on what we've learned?
Because when you're rushing cases, when you're bringing cases that are not true, when you're politically motivated, in time it will show. I always tell the American people, sit tight and wait. What we saw today was a story that I've heard for a decade that is complete garbage. And finally, the facts are coming out and the cases are falling apart like a domino, one at a time. You've seen it in Georgia. We're seeing it with Jack Smith. And guess what? We're seeing it now in New York. And if the American people don't see that this is solely to take him off and out, silence him, censor his people, and make sure that he's sitting in a courtroom cold and listening to this corruption, then we are completely misguided and blinded. And we have to fix this country, Sean. It is completely disgraceful what I'm seeing.
Well, if this continues, we're not a constitutional republic anymore. Alina, thank you.
At all. Right. Oh, man. Every time she speak, man, she speak with so much fierceness, confidence, and not a sense of entitlement and just being kind of like obnoxious either. So give her kudos for that. And we start to see all of these cases fumble one by one, crumble after crumble, just ging, over. Why? Because like we said in the beginning, they all been frivolous from the jump. All Biden trials, all to try to keep this man distracted so that they can have a better chance at propping Biden up. But it don't look like that's helping him. In fact, it's actually backfiring 10 times harder because we're becoming more and more Trump supportive. Anyhow, as it relates to Stormy Daniels, we're going to see how this develops tomorrow. But in my opinion, my humble opinion right now, man, this case needs to go ahead and get the hell on.